feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else.
In 2008, China opened its first high-speed rail line from Beijing to its neighbouring city Tianjin. 12 years later, they've got over 30,000 kilometres of high-speed rail spreading all across China. I'm currently going about 300 kilometres an hour on a Fuxing train, and I can walk freely down the centre without having to worry about falling over. We're going to talk to you today a little bit about the differences between the classes on these trains in China, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about why we think China has been able to progress their high-speed rail track system so quickly.
Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down, feel alive.
Welcome back to the Barrett channel. If this is the first video you are seeing from us, we are here in China making a bunch of videos about different things around the country. We take you to factories, we take you around all the different cities, we show you the culture, and we talk about our experiences. So if you're into that sort of stuff, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our videos. So as you can see, the main difference between economy class and first class is that you have a total of 5 seats across the train. So you've got 3 on one side and then you've got 2 on the other, which makes it so you don't have a great deal of space. You know, I'm quite broad, so it can be quite a problem for me sometimes. However, I would say that you do get a lot more space on the economy class on the train than you do on the economy class on most planes. Actually, so it's quite a coincidence because we actually rode yesterday on the first ever high-speed rail track that was open in China, which is from Beijing to Tianjin. And now we are taking the train from Tianjin down the east coast, and there's going to be some beautiful views along the way because we're going pretty much along the coastline for 5.5 hours to reach our destination. It's insane. China is so vast, it's so huge, and these trains make it so accessible to get around the country, and it's very inexpensive as well, which is a benefit to everybody. In economy class, you've got plenty of room for your luggage up at the top here. It doesn't look like anyone's ever sort of struggling to find a place for their luggage, and they've also got at the end of each carriage they've got little areas for sort of bigger suitcases. One thing that's worth noting is you still do have the ability to charge things in economy class, although you have 2 spread between 3 seats, so I guess most of the time that's not going to be a problem. One thing that's actually better about the economy class is the tray table, because in the first class your seat is so far in front of you that they actually have to opt for one that comes out of the side, which is not very sturdy. So actually you get a much better tray table, and if you want to work on a laptop, working on the economy class is actually a little bit easier in my opinion. One of the things that we have to really keep in mind when we're on the road is how we're going to keep things juiced up, because we've got so many different devices to be charging up all the time. That's what I'm going to tell you. This video is sponsored by Anker. They've given us 2 of these Anker nano chargers that they are selling at the moment, and it's literally solved all of our problems. It's tiny, you can see in relation to a palm of my hand, it literally just fits right into your pocket. And this particular one is a USB-C, and for me, I can just plug it in, plug both sides into my phone, we're good to go. I don't have to worry about carrying some big brick in my pocket that's going to take up a bunch of space. And then I can literally sit back and be charging up on the way. Now I use an Android, but if you've got an iPhone, this nano charger is going to charge your phone 3 times faster than the standard iPhone charger. If you're somebody who travels around all the time like we do, you better be picking yourself up one, because you're not going to regret it. You won't even notice you've got it because it's that small and light, so it's going to come in handy wherever you are. Anyway, all the links will be down in the description. Thank you very much to Anker for sponsoring this video. We're about to go into the first class area now, and let me show you how it differs. So as you can see straight away, you've only got 2 seats on either side, and that allows for about, I'd say about 20%, 30% extra shoulder width room, which is always nice to have. And you do have two very big spacious chairs. The quality of the chairs is pretty much the same, to be honest, but then they do recline a huge amount. If you do want to, I had about a 2-hour sleep this morning because we got on this train so early, so you can kind of, let me show you, you can lie back and sleep for a few hours, and yeah, I did that this morning. As you can see, this can is literally not moving in the slightest. This is a beer as well, I believe. I know it's made by a beer company, but it's not a beer, it's a soda water. One thing you're getting in first class as well is you get this nice big sort of footrest that you can whop out and put your feet on, which is always nice to have, but it's not exactly something that I would spend the extra money on just for that purpose. What they do as well in first class, they also bring you around a bunch of different snacks and things. As foreigners, those snacks don't kind of sometimes they're not the best, you know. You get kind of like egg in a bag, you get some other things that are not too appetizing for a lot of people, but you know, nevertheless it's nice to get the offer. And you do also get brought around tea and coffee and things like that. You get a bit of extra sort of service as to what you pay for here in the first class. Why do you reckon since 2008 China have built 30,000 kilometers worth of high-speed rail and we ain't got one in the UK yet?
In China, it's not built to look to be profitable, whereas they will look at the profitability on a much more longer term basis, and so they will build it and they might run it at a loss initially, because they know that ultimately it will make the economy grow, but that might take a long time, whereas in the UK they look to make profit very quickly. So a line, take for instance some of the lines here, they will probably never make money.
The one that goes from the centre of China all the way up to Xinjiang.
Yeah, that will probably never make money as a train line, you know, by the ticket sales. But the benefit that has to the economy, which obviously it's a lot more difficult to measure that. So they put this infrastructure in because they know it will have positive effects on the economy as a whole. They don't just look at it as how much money we can make on that train line, and I think that's something that is lacking in the West.
I mean, the fundamental reason for that is because it's a government initiative rather than private company initiative, isn't it?
Yeah, it's government fund. I mean, if you look at it in the UK, you know, the rail was privatised, and pretty much most of it's been a bit of a disaster since they privatised it, because you know the private companies run it to make money and not as a service to the public.
Last time I went. Go on.
It's also extremely expensive in the UK. So to give you an idea, I'm not quite sure how far this journey is, but we're probably doing an average of 250 kilometres an hour for 5 hours. So I would imagine it's somewhere 1,300, 1,500 kilometres, and we've paid 499 RMB for that journey, which is about 55 to 60 pounds, and that's first class. Now that carries a premium of about 35% to second class. The second class tickets are 330 RMB, which is about 38 pounds, 37, 38 pounds. And now if you compare that to a journey of that distance in the UK, I'm sure it would be 4 to 5 times more.
Last time I went back to the UK, I took a journey that's probably 200 kilometers maximum, and it cost me about the same amount of money, and it took me about 3 hours to get there, because you know, obviously the trains are way slower and they're way more expensive, so you can cover a way further distance here in China for less expensive, and it's kind of a more comfortable journey as well.
It's a very comfortable journey. I mean, it's almost like being on an aeroplane. They're very smooth, they're very quiet. I just want to address a couple of other things as well. So just a few statistics that they now have 35,000 plus kilometres of high-speed rail. They're obviously phasing out more and more of the older rail and replacing it with high-speed rail. And they have a target that by 2035 They want to have 70,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, and China currently has 2/3, that's more than 60% of the world's high-speed rail. It's kind of more than all the other countries put together. And I think that's down to that they see the economic benefits. I mean, you look at the routes that are really busy, like Shanghai, Beijing, you know, those routes must be highly profitable.
Yeah.
But they use the profit they make off that to subsidise less profitable lines. And if you look over the last sort of 10 years, how it's the ridership has increased. In 2019, people made 2.2 billion journeys just on the high-speed rail network.
Really?
I find that is absolutely amazing. Consider there's only 1.4 billion people. It's almost like 2 journeys per person. So something else I'd also like to mention, because I'm sure this will be levelled in the comments, is that many people outside of China have this sort of notion that China stole the technology for high-speed trains.
I was going to ask you about that.
And actually they didn't. So if you go back to 2004, when China first were putting out the tenders and contracts for high-speed rail, they wanted 200 sets of high-speed rail trains built, and there was 4 companies that bidded in that tender. So you had Siemens of Germany, you had Alstom of France, you had Bombardier, and you had a Japanese consortium led by Kawasaki. And out of those 4 companies, all but one of them, which was Siemens, were awarded contracts. Now, the reason why Siemens didn't get included in the first round of contracts is they wanted too high a price for the transfer of technology. They wanted 390 million euros for the transfer of that technology. The other 3 companies agreed that when those contracts were fulfilled, it would not only be a transfer of technology to Chinese companies, but a majority would also be built within the Chinese mainland to provide jobs for the Chinese people. And those contracts, it was all agreed that transfer of technology would happen, and the Chinese government paid a lot of money for that transfer of technology. Now, interestingly, what they did, they didn't just say, okay, we'll have that technology and we'll build trains. They improved on that technology significantly, and that's why today we now have those first trains that they procured under those contracts were running at like 200 kilometers an hour, and they improved massively on that technology. So today we have
this. We're on the Fuxing train, which is one of the best high-speed rail trains in China at the moment, which can go, I believe, up to 300. But then you've got the newest ones, which are like the maglev trains, which I haven't travelled on yet.
No, I think there's some of the high-speed trains now that do in excess of 300 kilometers an hour. I think they're spec'd up to 350 kilometers an hour. So they've built on this technology, and the next generation, which they're now testing, will do up to 600 kilometers an hour.
That's crazy.
You know, and that's just going to make such a difference on the sort of lines that are frequently used, like the Beijing to Shanghai and lines like that. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a sort of background, because, you know, it is, I feel, unfair the way many people outside of China say that China stole the technology. In fact, they didn't. They paid a lot of money for that technology, and in those contracts, those companies knew very well what they were signing a contract for.
Well, there's the facts. I want to go and show you a little bit about business class, because we've seen economy, we're in first, and I'll just give you a little overview of what business is like. Now, one of the first videos on our channel was actually taking the business class train here in China, so go and check that video out. If you've seen that already, let me know down in the comments as well, because that was seriously one of the first videos on our channel, so it brings back memories watching that. But have a look at this. Business class is almost like a bit of a spaceship. You've got really, really spacious seats here. Only 3 per cabin. Obviously no one's in here at the moment. It is quite expensive. It comes in at 3 times the price of economy class. So this journey we paid $499 in first class, and this was like $936, which is about £100 in business class, which is the best class you can get here in China. But yeah, you get a nice big comfortable leather seat, you get slippers, you get, you know, a reclining chair that you can actually fold flat so you can actually sleep like you're in a bed. And other than that, you know, you have a reading light, you have a few little amenities that the staff come and bring you, and it's a very nice and small carriage as well. That's another thing, so it'll be quite quiet. You wouldn't want us in here filming because obviously we make a lot of noise. Anyway, that is us done on the bullet train here in China. I really hope you did enjoy this video. It seems people liked us to show these bullet trains here in China because, you know, many other countries don't have them. If you did enjoy, please do drop a thumbs up. Thank you very much in advance for doing so. Drop a comment down below if you've ever tried out the bullet train in China or in another country like Japan. I would be very interested to know. We will see you, your beautiful faces, in the next video. For now, everybody, take care.